If you have ever learned about Nazi Germany before, you may know the name Joseph Goebbels. He was the Minister of Propaganda for Nazi Germany. His duties were to maintain a favorable public opinion of the Nazi Party and get the public to support Nazi endeavors, such as war and the ethnic cleansing of the Jewish people. A name you may not be as familiar with is Magda Goebbels, the wife of Joseph. This video will tell her life story from her Jewish background and her time as a Jewish activist to becoming the de facto First Lady of Nazi Germany and the most prominent female figurehead of the Third Reich. Magda was born in Berlin to an unwed couple on November 11, 1901. Magda's very early years involved an unstable family situation. Her parents would marry and then quickly divorce. Magda would live in Berlin with her father until 1908. In 1908, Magda and her mother would move to Belgium to live with her new stepfather, Richard Friedlander. Her new stepfather was a wealthy Jewish merchant. Friedlander would become Magda's adopted father, and Magda would even take on his last name of Friedlander, a last name typically assigned to German Ashkenazi Jews. There is evidence that suggests Richard Friedlander may have actually been Magda's biological father. If this is true, then Magda Goebbels, the First Lady of Nazi Germany, was half Jewish. One piece of evidence that Magda may have been half Jewish is that a residency card of Richard Friedlander was discovered in 2016. This residency card listed Magda as his biological daughter. There is also a journal entry from Joseph Goebbels, written in 1934, which mentions that Magda had recently discovered something unsettling about her family history. This is believed to have possibly been in reference to Magda discovering who her biological father was. Just a disclaimer, there is no concrete proof that Magda was half Jewish. The only way to know whether or not she was with certainty would be to perform a DNA test on her remains. But I do think the evidence is compelling enough to at least share in this YouTube video. It is crazy to think the most prominent female figure of the Third Reich may have been half Jewish herself. Richard Friedlander would not be Magda's only Jewish connection. After Magda's mother and Friedlander divorced in 1914, Magda and her mother would move back to Berlin shortly after the start of the First World War. Magda, then 13 years old, was anxious to make friends in her new home. She would befriend a similarly aged Jewish girl named Liza Arlosoroff. Magda would become close with Liza's entire family, and this family would expose Magda to Jewish culture by inviting her to celebrate Jewish holidays with them. Magda would become especially close with Liza's older brother, Chaim. Chaim Arlosoroff was an ardent Zionist and socialist. While they were together, they would attend Jewish youth group meetings. Magda would even wear a Star of David and learn Hebrew. Chaim would eventually move to British Palestine, where he would become the head of the political department of the Jewish Agency. Magda and Chaim would stay in touch throughout the 1920s, even after they both married. Magda may have had an affair with Chaim during her first marriage. At one point, Magda even considered converting to Judaism and moving to Palestine. At some point within the early 1930s, once Magda was already well entrenched within the Nazi Party, Magda was confronted by Chaim in Berlin. Chaim, in a fit of rage, would shoot a revolver in Magda's direction, purposely missing her. Magda would cut off all communication with him after this altercation. Chaim would be assassinated in 1933 while walking on the beach in Tel Aviv. It is believed that Joseph Goebbels may have been behind Chaim's murder due to his previous relationship with Magda. Before marrying Joseph Goebbels, Magda had a prior marriage. She was married to a wealthy businessman named Gunther Quandt. She would have one child from this marriage, a son by the name of Harold. Magda would delegate most of the childcare responsibilities to nannies and other servants. Magda would use the wealth from this marriage to live it up as a socialite in Berlin, which was one of Europe's largest and most vibrant cities. Gunther would often be away for business, leading to Magda having multiple affairs while he would be away. Gunther eventually found out about one of them, and this would end the marriage in 1929. Magda would receive a large divorce settlement and became independently wealthy as a result. In 1929, right after Magda's first marriage ended, the U.S. stock market had crashed, causing an economic downward spiral into what we know as the Great Depression. The Depression sunk Germany into economic catastrophe. This led to political instability in the young Weimar Republic, and the Nazi Party saw a rise in popularity as a result of the chaos. In 1930, Magda began attending Nazi Party meetings. At one of the meetings she attended, she was captured by a speaker named Joseph Goebbels. She would officially join the party in September of 1930 and began doing volunteer work on behalf of the party. Magda began working as a secretary for one of Joseph Goebbels' deputies. Through this job, she got chances to encounter Joseph. By 1931, Magda and Joseph would become romantically involved. Magda and Joseph would marry and have 6 children together. Magda and Joseph would have a lot of fights and disputes early on, and the relationship would always remain somewhat adversarial. Through this marriage to Joseph Goebbels, Magda was able to become the surrogate First Lady of the Third Reich. Some of you watching might ask, how? She wasn't married to Hitler, so how was she the First Lady? While Hitler did have a romantic relationship with Eva Braun, she was kept a secret from the public. The Nazi Party thought it would be politically advantageous if Hitler were to remain publicly single. Joseph Goebbels, as the Minister of Propaganda, was the next most publicly visible member of Nazi leadership. The Goebbels family would therefore function as the de facto first family. Joseph, as Minister of Propaganda, would use his very own family of 6 children to promote the Nazis' idea of what the ideal German family was. The Nazis wanted married couples to have a lot of children to grow a large future generation of Aryans. Magda would become involved in the National Socialists' Women's League. This league was originally established so that Nazis could appeal better to female voters, who the Nazis struggled with. However, once the Nazis seized power, the league was then used to promote Nazi ideological ideas about a woman's role in society. This role was to support her husband's career and to facilitate her children's education. Magda would become the figurehead of this league, and it would attract up to 2 million members. Many women throughout Germany would write Magda and ask her for advice about how to be a better wife and mother. Magda was devoutly loyal to the Nazi Party and Hitler. Magda had an extremely close personal relationship with Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was very close to Magda and Joseph's entire family, being an uncle-like figure to their 6 children. Joseph even got jealous of Magda's relationship with Hitler, fearing that it may have even been romantic. However, there is no evidence to suggest that it was. In 1938, Magda found out Joseph was having an affair with an actress named Lyda Baruva. Magda would tell Hitler about the affair. Hitler would side with Magda, giving Joseph an ultimatum: either break off the affair or be kicked out of the Nazi Party. Joseph would break off the affair. Although she was very much a part of Hitler's inner circle, Magda did not seem to harbor the same level of anti-Semitism as Hitler or her husband. She was, however, very indifferent to the radical anti-Semitism displayed by the Nazi Party. When asked about the persecution of the Jewish people by the Nazis, she simply stated, "It is Hitler's wish, and we must go along with it." Richard Friedlander, Magda's adopted father that was mentioned earlier, died as a victim of the Holocaust. Magda made no effort to use her connections to try and save him. This shows that despite her Jewish background, Magda was loyal to the Nazi Party, and Hitler above all else. As the war came to a close and it became increasingly clear that Germany was going to lose to the Allies, Magda demonstrated her devout loyalty to the Nazis. She stated that she did not want to live in a world without National Socialism. She also did not want her children to grow up in a world where their father would be publicly vilified. She chose to not send her children away to safety as the Soviets' Red Army began to invade Berlin. She believed that through reincarnation, her children could have a better life. Magda's children, unaware of what was going on in the war, stayed in the bunker with Magda and Joseph. On May 1st, 1945, Magda took it upon herself to murder all 6 of her and Joseph's children. She first administered the morphine shots to knock them unconscious. Once unconscious, she took cyanide capsules and crushed them inside the mouth of her children, killing them. Joseph and Magda would then commit suicide themselves in solidarity with Hitler. Thank you for watching the entire video. If you enjoyed what you just watched, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I plan to keep producing new history content every week.